Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a chatty get ready with me. I plan to do a pretty colorful look today. I'm really excited about it because I'm going to be using a few new products which I bought or received in my PR box but I haven't used until now. And while I'm doing my makeup, I'm just going to chat with you guys. I hope you enjoy this video. Let's get started. So I'm going to do my skin prep first. I did moisturize when I showered this morning. It was a couple of hours ago, but my skin is feeling really dry again, so I'm going to use the Calendula Essential Moisture Cream from the Face Shop. This is one of my favorite moisturizers and definitely my favorite one from the Face Shop. I love the consistency because it's not exactly super thick. It feels like a gel cream. It's not too heavy, but it is super moisturizing. I also really like how this smells. I've been feeling a lot of dryness lately everywhere, like my hands have been super dry, so I'm just moisturizing my hands as well. I planned to shoot this video yesterday, but I have just been sleeping so poorly. I think I finally got over the jet lag now, and it's been 8-9 days since I came back from my trip, but I always get very affected by jet lag. It takes me a while to get back to a normal sleeping pattern, and yesterday night finally I got enough sleep, and by enough I mean I slept 8 hours after a really long time, so I feel so much better today. My energy levels feel so much better. After the moisturizer, I'm going to use just a little bit of oil. I'm using the Nykaa Skin Potion. This is the glow boosting one. They've got a couple of different ones. I think there are total 5 variants, and these are all meant there are different variants for different skin types and different concerns. So if you have pigmentation, they have an anti-pigmentation one. If you want something anti-acne, they have an anti-acne one. So I'm just going to massage it nicely on my palms, and then I'm just going to press it on the skin. So my skin feels a lot better now. So skin prep is done. I'm going to do my eyes first today just because I'm going to do a very colorful eye. I'm just a little bit concerned about the fallout, so I'm not going to do my foundation or my concealer first. But I am going to use a primer. I'm using the Smashbox Photo Finish. This is the Radiance one, and I want a super glowy look today. I want to look like a glow monster, so I'm going all out with everything that will make me look glowy, and that's also a reason why I used oil on my face, because then my foundation will have a pretty dewy finish, which is what I'm going for today. I've never used this before, but generally I really like Smashbox products, so let's see how this one works. So what it has is some fine shimmer particles. So I'm just mostly using it in areas where I want a nice glow. If you have really shadowy under eyes like mine are because of sleep problems, or if your eyes are deep set, having something like a light reflective primer under your concealer, under your foundation really helps in just adding just a little more light to your eyes. I really like the look of this primer because it doesn't have very visibly chunky shimmer particles. It just gives like a really soft focus glow. So I've got your questions here from Instagram. I'm going to go through them, but first let me get started with my eye makeup because I tend to get too chatty and then ignore what I'm doing. I'm going to start doing my eye makeup just because I don't want to sort of get too caught up in answering questions and forget my makeup. I'm going to use this beautiful palette from Melt Cosmetics. I bought this some time back. It took a long time to ship this to India, but I'd heard so much about these palettes, and look how colorful and beautiful that is. I'm going to be working with these colors today to create something like really spring inspired, because it's mid of February. We are not that far away from spring. So I want something quite green and fresh and vibrant, and I feel like I haven't done like a green look in a long time, so that's why I'm going to work with this color palette. Honestly, I was drawn more to these colors when I first opened this palette to use today, but then I thought those are colors I've used before, why not try something a bit unusual. I'm once again going to address a question which has been asked so many times, and that is, have you fixed a date for your wedding? No, we haven't. And I don't think I'll be doing a lot of wedding related content. Just using the K Beauty crayon. This is a nice nude color. The shade is called Bliss, and I'm going to use it as a base just to neutralize my eyes because I've got a lot of like veins and my skin's really thin. Yes, so coming back to the wedding, no, we haven't finalized a date. We're not actively working on the wedding prep right now just because we are still living in 2 different countries and we want to figure out a way to first live together and then we will plan the wedding. These are definitely applying much better after I've used a bit of setting spray to just wet my finger. I'm now going to go in with these 2 colors. These are matte. This was like a more shimmery, almost metallic finish. I'm going to go in with these matte colors now and just blend the color out in the crease. Okay, the next question is, how do you film your videos? Is it you who shoots or someone helps you in shooting? I'm going to answer this by just inserting a clip that I'm going to shoot on my phone to just show you the setup. Setup at the moment, this is my desk where I've got my products. That's my tripod. I've got my camera here. This is my mic, which is clipped onto my shirt, and then this is the light that I'm using, and because I've got natural light coming from here, I'm just using this to the right side of my face just to balance out the light that you see on the camera. So to answer your question, I shoot by myself, and I feel most comfortable shooting by myself, especially if I'm doing a chatty video like this. I feel just really self-conscious if I had to do this with other people in this room. At this point, I'm wishing I had used some concealer maybe in this part just to kind of neutralize my eye here, because I feel lighter colors just apply and show up better when you've got concealer, but I can't do it at this point, so I'll just have to intensify this lime color here and hope that it shows nicely on camera. I'm also using the same color along my lower lash line. Okay, I'm just going to combine 2 questions here because they're kind of similar. The first one is how you gathered so much knowledge about beauty, skincare, and another one is what you have done to become an artist. Well, I'm not really a makeup artist. I don't think I can say that term just because I make videos on social media. A makeup artist is someone who does makeup on other people, who does makeup for, you know, a variety of different situations. Just doing makeup on yourself, I don't think I can say I'm a makeup artist. That would be really disrespectful for people who are out there in the industry actually doing makeup on several clients. So, but how I know so much is I just practiced a lot. So if you look at some of my older videos or some of my older blog posts, well, I've actually deleted my older blog posts now because I'm kind of trying to do a rebranding of my blog. So it was just by experimentation, by watching a lot of videos from makeup artists, reading a lot about skincare, and then finally last year in November I actually did a 1-month course at the Makeup Forever Academy in Paris, which was just something I had been thinking about doing, and it was really fun. Although I would say there were quite a few things I already knew because I have been in this industry and doing this for nearly a decade now. So that's how I know. I've just been around a long time, watched a lot of videos, worked with a lot of brands, and just tried to increase my knowledge by being curious about beauty. Again, I should have used a concealer because I think then this color would have just shown a little more. Right now it's just blending into my skin in a very unflattering way. So I was going to use the yellow after using this, but I think I'm going to use this peach color instead. This one. Just because when you've got something like a green and you haven't used any concealer or anything, the way it blends into your skin makes your skin look very greenish, and that can make you look quite tired and dull, which is not what we want. So a peach kind of helps in counteracting that, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this color, which is not a true peach. It's kind of like between a yellow and a peach, but I'm just going to use that color, and I hope that will help. Okay, so I'm just cleaning up some of the fallout. I've just got a cotton which I've folded in half like this to get this flat surface using Bioderma, and just cleaning up all this excess that I have here. Now when you do this, you have to remember to reapply your moisturizer and if you want your primer, just because if you don't do that, when you have concealer and foundation, it's not going to blend nicely and it's going to look a bit cakey. So I'm going to do my base now. I've got the Fenty Beauty Hydrating Foundation here. I like this a lot more than the first one they launched, which was more matte. Even though I liked that one, I prefer this one because my skin has become a little more on the drier side. It's still combination. I still get an oily T-zone, but the rest of it gets really dry. So I prefer using more hydrating foundations now, and only very rarely will I use something matte. It's only when I want something super high coverage I will use a matte, because hydrating foundations tend to be like medium or light coverage. Got a clean new sponge. I've got the MAC 190 brush, which is a flat brush like this, and I'm just going to use this to first kind of lay down the first layer, and then I'm going to go in with my sponge. So when you're using a flat brush like that, you have to go in either with your fingers or with a sponge, otherwise you have these streaky brush marks on your face, which you don't want. For my under eyes, I actually should have applied the orange corrector before I went in with my foundation, but because I'm still going to use a concealer, I can still use an orange corrector. The only thing that's important with an orange corrector is that it has to be topped off with something else. You can't just use it by itself. So I'm going to use a tiny bit of the orange corrector and then go back in with a concealer. And for those of you who might not know why I'm using this orange under my eyes, it's when you have dark shadows. If you have dark circles, concealer alone doesn't do the job, because it still looks grey when you go in with a concealer when you've got moderate or severe dark circles. But using an orange corrector just cancels out that darkness under your eyes and just really any part of your face, not just under the eyes. So this is a very important step for Indian women, especially because most Indian women, we have darkness under the eyes, around the nose and mouth as well. Sometimes people have it on the forehead, so it's completely normal to have that. Everyone has it. We just have more melanin in our skin, and that's the reason we get this. Another question I want to answer while we are on this subject is about dark circles. I get just a lot of questions about dark circles and how to get rid of them. Thing is, it's more to do with lifestyle and genetics than it has to do with beauty. I don't want to randomly recommend an eye cream to you, because in most cases eye cream doesn't help. How much do you sleep, what you are eating in your diet, how much water you drink, all of this is related to your dark circles. And you could be doing everything right, but if you genetically have if like your mom or your dad, someone in your family has deep dark circles, you're likely to have them, and there's nothing really you can do to get rid of them. But if you want to conceal and correct them, you can use an orange corrector. I forgot to mention the one I use. This is the Take Cover Concealer by PAC, and the shade I'm using is called Rusty Orange. So you can use an orange corrector like this under your concealer, and that will just correct your dark circles. I'm going to use the Take Cover Concealer in the shades Stark Nude and Banana Split. I'm using this one because it's quite yellow, and yellow helps in brightening your under eyes. I'm going to mix these two and use it in my under eye area. So like I mentioned in my K-Beauty liner video, one of the reasons I like this so much is that it draws my liner really easily, even in areas where I've got folds. And I've realized as I've developed more of a fold here is that to get a nice wing, you need to keep your eye relaxed and not do this or not stretch it, because the moment you release it, your skin comes back and the shape of the liner is completely different. So to get the exact shape that you want, you need to keep your eye relaxed, and that is what I'm going to do. And I've recently started doing my liner much sharper than I used to, and I really like it because it really gives a lift to my eyes. I'm going to go in with my L'Oreal Karl Lagerfeld mascara now. So it's adding a nice length. I'm not sure about the volume. I am going to do a second coat though and see if it builds up a bit. I love what it has done to my bottom lashes though. They look super long, and the mascara wand is not too big. It's a nice size that you can easily do the bottom lashes without getting like smudges and things like that. I would have loved a little more volume, to be honest, but I still like what it does. Definitely lots of length, especially the bottom lashes. I love how long they look. One of my old favorites, which is the Jacqueline Lash from Huda Beauty. I usually find that Huda Beauty lashes quite heavy. Like, they look beautiful on camera and in pictures, but in real life I find them a bit difficult to wear because they are quite intense and heavy. But this one is actually one of the less intense ones, but it still gives you a lot of volume. So once I put on the lashes, you'll see what I'm talking about. Next, I'm going to use this blush from L'Oreal, and I'm excited to use this because it's such a pretty soft, subtle color, and it has some really nice shimmer running through it. I'm not sure if you can see, but I really like the packaging of this, and I haven't used it even once, so I have no idea what these are like. The color is really pretty. It's very natural, like it's giving like that very sun-kissed sort of look. So I've got Becca Champagne Pop. I have the mini one, and I think this is going to be the kind of shade I actually wanted for this look. Mine is actually broken, but I'm still using it in this state because I don't want to buy a new one. I'm going to take one last question. There are actually loads of questions in this Q&A that I want to answer, but I don't have enough time. This video is going to be super duper long if I pick any of the questions which, you know, require and deserve a much more elaborate answer. So I'm going to take a quick question while I'm doing just finishing my makeup, and that is, what's your go-to look when you're traveling? For the lips, I'm using Eldridge lipstick in the shade Velvet Muse. I don't think I've ever used these on my YouTube channel. I have shown these on my Instagram a few times, and these are just the most beautiful lipstick. Like the pattern alone on this is just so pretty. And this is a beautiful nude for my complexion. Velvet Muse, that's the shade. It's like the perfect nude for my complexion. I don't want such a matte finish though, so I'm just going to use my finger and take off some of this excess. I know this is hard to get, so I'm going to suggest an alternative which is not a dupe but pretty close in color, and that is the shade Morning Coffee from LAKME. I actually think Morning Coffee from LAKME is better suited for Indian skin. So that's what LAKME Morning Coffee looks like, and I'm going to swatch Lisa Eldridge Velvet Muse right next to it. So the LAKME one is definitely a bit darker. This is more nude, but these are similar, like in the same color family. So if you want to use something that looks quite soft and neutral, not too pink, not too nude, not too flesh toned, try LAKME Morning Coffee. It's a really nice color. And I want a glossy lip, so I'm going to use the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb. This is the original one. They've now come up with lots of different colors, but I quite like the original. It's like this, almost like a soft dark beige color, and I'm just going to apply this on the top. To answer your question, when I'm traveling, my makeup is really simple. I use most of the times just a concealer. Sometimes I might use a light coverage foundation. Then I will use pink toned lip, usually something like a soft rosy pink. Sometimes I actually use a peach as well, it just depends, but mostly it will be like a pink, and I will use that same color generally on my cheeks as well for a bit of color. I always fill my brows, and I always do mascara. I may or may not do a liner. Sometimes I might just smudge a bit of brown liner, but I do mascara definitely. So that's my really super simple routine when I'm traveling. I want to keep it simple. I just want to look fresh and presentable. This look, however, is a complete departure from that. This is pretty full on. I've got lashes, I've got bright eyeshadow, I have a lot on my cheeks, but I hadn't done a colorful look like this in a long time, so I wanted to try that today. I'm just going to add a little bit of setting spray. I'm going to use the Smashbox one. And if you've put too much, you can always just go back in with your blender and just softly get rid of that excess. And that is the final finished look. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. As usual, I'm going to link all the products I have used in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe. Do click on the bell icon so that you're notified every time I put out a new video. And that's all for today. I'll see you soon in my next video. Bye.